Every passing minute is another chance to turn it all around.
Never believe a prediction that doesn't empower you. How many predictions have been thrown at you your whole life? If you believe predictions that do not empower you, you will wither away and die. Either physically die or your spirit will die as you just walk around the world like a carcass, just following the masses. You will be given a lot of titles in your life. You will be told so many different things. You must only listen to that which empowers you.
And see, it's not important how long you live. What's important is how you live.
The first thing I believe you got to do to turn yourself around is really take control of your mind. Or specifically, you got to feed and strengthen the mind.
Guess what? You're going to make some mistakes. So the person who's never made a mistake hasn't done anything. You're going to make some mistakes if you want to do something out here. You're going to fall flat on your face. You're going to be criticized when you come out into the arena called life. You're going to feel awkward and stupid and dumb sometimes. It goes for the territory. But it's okay.
Take charge of your own life and walk away from the 95%. Don't go where they go. Don't do what they do. Don't talk like they talk. Develop your whole new language. Don't use their vocabulary. Don't use their excuses. Once you look back on it, you will never turn back. You will never go back to the old ways and the old language and the old neglect. Never.
Spend each day trying to be a little wiser than you were when you woke up. Discharge your duties faithfully and well. Step by step you get ahead, but not necessarily in fast spurts. But you build discipline by preparing for fast spurts. Slug it out 1 inch at a time, day by day. And at the end of the day, if you live long enough, most people get what they deserve.
Got it finished a little bit early then. Absolutely love that motivational video. So I hope that that's set everybody up for a fantastic call tonight, because we are in for a fab call. We've got the wonderful brand new area manager, Angela Brunning, who's training tonight. But before I hand over, let me introduce myself. My name is Danny Wells, and I am a regional vice president, soon to be national vice president with Arbonne International and independent consultant. And I have got the honour of hosting tonight's call and giving you a rundown of the weekly recognition this week, which is really exciting. My favourite part of the whole week, sharing what everybody's been up to and celebrating everybody's success. So it will just take me a couple of minutes, and then I'll hand on over to the person that you've all been waiting for. Okay, so it is Sunday the 20th of August, and this is our weekly online nation training. So quick mention, save the date. If you're not in income producing activity, this Thursday there is an online Discover Arbonne by Danny Cowie and Michael Wilford. So they're going to give like a men's perspective on the overview of what Arbonne is. So if you've got some men that you want to hear the Discover Arbonne, an overview of what Arbonne is, get those men that you know or people that you know that would want to listen to this into the Hello Future page. That's a family and friends page that you can add anybody into with their consent. And this is going to be a Facebook Live, so you don't need a Zoom code. You just need to be in the Hello Future page at 8 p.m. this Thursday, and your guests as well. So it's going to be a really fabulous Facebook Live. So next thing is car presentations. So on September the 3rd, we've got 3 car presentations. We've got Laura Leggett's, which is going to be in Melton Mowbray. You can book your tickets online for that. Then we've got one that is in Harrogate, and then we've got one that is in Edinburgh, I think. Is it Edinburgh? It's up in Scotland anyway. Yeah, I can't see that. Oh yeah, it is Edinburgh. Yeah, up in Edinburgh. So you can book your tickets for that. Okay, so the tickets did go off sale for Fiona's Nation Party, but a few people have said that they didn't actually get them in the time frame, which is very naughty. How you do anything is how you do everything. So if you are one of those people, I'm not going to shame you, who did not get your ticket in your timeline, you need to have a think about what the heck you're playing at. So Fiona has actually opened it up again for the next couple of days for those people to get your ticket. So you have to have your ticket. For anybody that doesn't know what this is, basically our team has promoted to the top level, so nation level, which obviously we've never, ever done before. This is incredible. And this is what we're all striving for. We're all striving to build a customer base and a team base and build ourselves to the top level, national vice president level. And when you do that, you have a party to celebrate the enormous success of what you've done. And when that happens, you're going to want your team to be there. You're going to want your clients to be there. You're going to want your friends and family to be there. It's like this enormous celebration. When you go region, you get your car party. When you go nation, you get your nation party. So think about what you would want for your nation party and the people that you would want there. Now, we're all part of Fiona's Nation. So if you haven't got your ticket, because Fiona's been kind enough to open up the tickets again for the next couple of days, if you have not got your ticket, you must get your ticket, because you would want people at your nation party, and you'd especially want Fiona at your own nation party. So if you're not at hers and you're with the team now, it's going to be remembered. So make sure that you have your ticket. Children are free. It's £25 per person, and that's for food and drinks on arrival. It's going to be an amazing, amazing night. But the point is, we're all together as a team celebrating as this enormous group team success. So again, think about what you'd want for your nation party, and then make sure you've got your ticket for Fiona's one this Friday. Okay, save the date for, we've got monthly nation training on the first Monday of every single month, and there's usually one in the local area to you. Every third month we get together as a whole group, the whole team together, and do nation training, and that next one is in September on the 4th in Bourne, and Regional Vice President Jennifer Carey has been kind enough to organise the venue. And for anybody that has promoted in the past 3 months, you are paid for by your Regional Vice President for dinner and drinks just before nation training on that Monday, so it starts at 5 o'clock. If you've hit your Roger Bannister Award 2 months out of the past 3, you're also paid for dinner and drinks. If you've hit your DM bonus, usually it's 2 months out of the 3. If you've done that, you're invited for dinner and drinks. But if you haven't, you've got a chance to just hit your DM bonus in August, and you'll be invited for dinner and drinks, paid for by your RVP. That's on Monday, September the 4th. And this venue is for Wells and McCarthy Nation, the Leggett and Allen, Nicky Marchant's region as well, in Bourne. If you're in Laura Leggett and Zoe Allen's region, then your nation training is in Oakham. Okay, tickets. This is the final few days to get your ticket for our once a year annual conference, which is in Glasgow. There is less than, I think, 100 tickets left now. So this is once a year. We have a conference where we all get together, where there's going to be keynote speakers flying in from America, author Dr. Stephen Peters, who wrote The Chimp Paradox. There's going to be the most incredible new products that are launched, which we get 50% off as attendees. That's all the whole Christmas line. We're going to get to find out so much. It's going to be an amazing, amazing, amazing event. If you haven't got a ticket to our once a year annual conference and you're not quite sure whether you should have a ticket or not, speak to the team, ask on the WhatsApp, ask on the Facebook page, and they'll tell you why you should have a ticket, because it's going to be the most epic conference you've ever been to in your life. Okay, so now I'm going to welcome in our new business builders. So please give a massive online Zoom cheer or a little clap for independent consultant Adam Hewins, independent consultant Amy Haddock, independent consultant Kirsty White, independent consultant Sarah Todd, independent consultant Julietta Mail, independent consultant Christine Batchelor, independent consultant Ilana Kale. Welcome, guys. Massive welcome to all of you. Okay, so this week we've also got an achiever of the Independent Consultant Bonus Part 1, and that is District Manager in Qualifications, Suzanne Monday. Amazing, Suzanne. Absolutely incredible. Okay, we've got a Roger Bannister Award Achiever this week in District Manager in Qualification, Lindsay Langford. And this week, I think this is the first of the whole nation as well, DM bonus achiever, who's on holiday in Spain, Executive Area Manager Kausa Toten. Okay, I'm just going to quickly check the chat just to make sure I've not missed anybody. And then I'm going to hand over to our trainer. Just bear with me. Let's have a look, make sure I've not missed anyone. Can I still invite guests? Yes, you can invite guests to Nation Training, but it is still £25 a ticket because of food and drinks. Just check I've not missed anyone. Okay, fabulous. Right, let's hand it over then. So, Angela, if you want to unmute yourself. So, this lady came storming into the business a few months ago. She's going to share her story. Angela is one of the first people that Fiona spoke to 10 years ago about starting this business. How mad is that? I have had the pleasure of meeting Angela a few times, and I absolutely fell head over heels in love with her. She's the most loveliest, most kindest, giving, wonderful, hilarious, brave, most courageous person. So I am so thrilled that I have the honour of introducing her in. So please give a massive cheer and a massive welcome to brand new Area Manager Angela Brunning.
Thank you. Thanks, Danny. You're just too kind. I'm flattered. Can you see me all right? The lighting's really poor.
You look lovely.
Oh, I've just said to my husband, we need to sort the lighting out there. It's not, it's not in there. It's not very good. And he said, no, it's fine. They can see as much of you as they want to. So, right, I've done a bit of a live story. Is that all right? I didn't know how much you wanted from me. So I've done from birth to today. You want it all? Right, okay. Okay. You're going to get it all. Warts and all. Right. And it's a bit doom and gloom to start with, but it does get better. All right, it does get better. Right. So for those of you that don't know me, my name is Angela Brunning, independent consultant and area manager with Arbonne. Fiona and Danny have asked me to share with you tonight a bit about me, my journey with Arbonne so far, and any top tips I've implemented to get me to area. So, first of all, a bit about me. I was born in 1969 in Devon, the eldest of 4 children. It was an idyllic place to live, but my life was far from idyllic. My father was extremely violent towards my mum and us children. And as the eldest, I was always trying to protect her and my younger brothers and sisters, which often got me into more hot water. The only respite we had really was when he went to prison, which he did probably twice a year for petty crime. And that was amazing for mum and us kids, because it just gave us, it was almost like respite. It just gave us time away from him. But while he was away, he would write, say how sorry he was, and that when he came out, things would be completely different. But people like that, they don't change. And within days of being home, it was sort of back to normal again until he went back to prison. So there, I told you it was doom and gloom, but it does get better in a minute. Luckily, when I was about 9, my mum got rid of him, which is a whole other story. But life for us sort of settled down then. Mum remarried, and she's still with my stepdad now, and he's lovely. He's a lovely man. So I sort of sailed through school then. Life got better for us all. And I left school with reasonably good qualifications, and I'd always wanted to be a nurse. And I can remember being 2 or 3, and my mum taking a picture of me in my nurse's uniform, so it was something I'd always wanted. But I applied to go into the RAF, was accepted, and then I met my first husband. And in my wisdom, I was 16 and I thought I knew it all, and I didn't want to go into the RAF. My mum was devastated, and I decided to do a medical secretary's diploma, which was really good. It enabled me to get a really good job when I'd finished it. And the nursing, I just sort of put on the back burner and thought I can always go back to this later. It's just one of those one of those things that you just never do. Life gets in the way. You have children, you have a husband, and you know, once you start working, you can't really stop working then to train because you need that income. So that was the sort of problem we had. But all the way through, that's all I ever wanted to do. And we were just too busy with our jobs and trying to make ends meet, you know, trying to get through, like they say, from paycheck to paycheck. Well, 22 years ago, we moved from Devon to March for my husband's job in the prison service. And it was a real wrench because I had to leave my mum behind, my brothers and sisters. But I managed to get a good job as a medical secretary in Peterborough. And our plan was that we'd stay here for 5 years and then move back. So it didn't seem like such a big thing at the time because I always knew I'd be going back home. But it just didn't work out the way we'd planned. My husband and I had real bad problems when we got here. And eventually we managed, you know, we decided to split. We had another child and decided to go our separate ways. I would have liked to have returned to Devon at that point, but I met somebody else, and my children were settled here, so I ended up staying. I had decided at that point to pursue a career in nursing, and I did actually apply, and I got a job as a care assistant for about 18 months just to give me the experience I needed. But my husband, unfortunately, committed suicide. So that was a real, I told you it's doom and gloom. And it was a real wrench for all of us. I mean, the kids were, as you can imagine, the kids were devastated. I was devastated. It was just one of those really, really awful things that you just never think is going to happen to you. So I had to leave my job. I got a job looking after a lady in her own home. And that meant I could go and get her ready in the morning and bring her to mine. Which worked really well for me and the kids, you know, because it was good for her as well because she had a family life then. She could come and have meals with us and I'd take her home in the evening. But after I think it was about 3 years, I looked after her, she died. And I decided then, in my wisdom, I would start my own care business. I did actually like care at that time. And I thought, well, you know, I don't want to go and work for somebody else. I have to sort of work independently. So I started the care business, absolutely loved it for ages and just met some amazing people, heard some amazing tales. But a few years ago, or 2 years ago, my granddaughter was born. And I just realised then how much time I was actually spending at work. You know, I don't have weekends off of work every single weekend, probably have 4 a year. And I struggle to get a week off. Just trying to get staff and trying to get cover is just an absolute nightmare for me. And I think, you know, it's just really, really got to me now. You know, the money was fairly reasonable, which I think towards the end was what kept me there, because obviously you live to your means and you have to have an income. But I was so exhausted and fed up. And in February of this year, I hit real rock bottom. And I remember just driving between clients and just in tears, just crying. I just physically did not want to be there. And I had the most awful anxiety, which I'd got help for, but just didn't seem to alleviate it. And I was just I was overworked, overtired. And I really, really didn't do anything for myself, which wasn't good. But then in February of this year, I was having a coffee with my daughter in between clients. I was pouring my heart out to her and telling her that I was just so fed up. She'd heard it all before, and I was getting on my own nerves with it, because I thought, for God's sake, just do something. You know, if you're that unhappy, do something. But the most amazing thing happened. Fiona McCarthy walked up to me and asked me if I was all right. And obviously, obviously I wasn't. But I knew Fiona from a few years ago, and I'd actually bought products from her when she first started. And I actually bought 2 gold bags. And I did really, really love the products. But that was when my husband died, and, you know, and I was financially in charge of the kids, and money was really, really tight. So I didn't buy anymore, which was a real shame. But she's, you know, she obviously could see that I was quite distressed. And she said, right, she said, we're going to go for a coffee, which we did 2 days later. And she went through the business with me, and I still wasn't 100%. I was probably 60%. But for me, network marketing was something I'd never really heard of before. Didn't understand it. Didn't think it worked. So we came away from that meeting, and she'd invited me to a DA a few days later. And all the way home, I kept thinking, well, I don't have to go. I don't have to go to the DA. It doesn't matter. She won't even realise I'm not there. But the day of the DA came, and I dragged one of my district managers along with me, Jen. And all day I kept thinking, oh, shall I just cancel? Shall I just cancel on her? It doesn't matter really. But something inside me just wouldn't let me do that. And I am very much, if I say I'm going to do something, I'll do it, or else I feel that much guilt that I haven't carried things through. So I turned up at this DA, and within 10 minutes, absolutely blown away with it. It was just everything that I'd been looking for, and I so regretted not doing it all those years ago. So I started the business. I had the usual collywobbles, I think, that everybody has. I'd wake up in the middle of the night and think, what the bloody hell am I doing? I can't do this. This isn't me. I can't talk to people. I can normally. I'm a real chatterbox. But when it comes to talking about the business, that's a different thing. I didn't feel that I had enough knowledge to be able to talk to people. And I sort of came to the realisation that you've just got to be yourself. You've got to talk to people as you would normally talk to them, because if you start being nervous around them, you make them nervous. So just be yourself and talk. So at the end of March, when I got to district, and I think it was 5 weeks to get to district then, with Fiona's help. I mean, she was really instrumental. I told her that I wanted to run with the business, and she was fantastic. And every day she was giving me things that I had to do, and I was getting them done. And I sort of surprised myself, really. So 5 weeks to district. And I actually told people then that I would be finishing my business, which was really, I don't know if it's brave or stupid, but I believed so much that in the business, and I loved everything about it. And whenever I'm doing this business, I just feel so happy. So I knew it was something that I'd always want to do. So I went and told people, I told the carers that were doing work for me that they could have the business and they could take over. So they've known for, about 3 months now that I'm going. And obviously I've told all my friends, which really puts it out there. Because when you've told your friends, and some of those friends are, I think, a little bit skeptical about what I'm doing, you've just got to do it. You've just got to do it. I mean, when the ones that don't like it, when I'm with them, I don't harp on. I don't even talk about Arbonne, because I know, they're not really interested, and they just see it as a bit of a gimmicky thing, I think. But they see the posts on Facebook, and I think that counts for more than anything. And even when I see them again after. When I promoted, I still didn't say anything. I didn't say, did you see the post? I've promoted. But I didn't say a word. And they've sort of come to me one by one and just sort of said, oh, we saw what what was on Facebook. And there was just sort of that look. But I know it's going in. And it won't take long to convince them. So I've got 3 weeks left at work. And I'm just so excited about what that's going to mean for me. I am going to start to play golf, which is something I've always wanted to do. I've had my golf clubs for 3 years, and my shoes and all my clothes. So that is a definite. I'm going to start that, you know, I'm going to book lessons and go for that. I want to take up painting again, because I did a couple courses a couple of years ago. I just never had time to sit and paint, and it's just so relaxing. So that's another thing I'm going to do. And me and my team are joining the gym, which is going to be a real a real laugh, but real fun. Yeah, and another reason, which I haven't really touched on, for me doing this business, my daughter is emigrating. She's 29, and a few years ago she met a man from Adelaide. Obviously I've got my granddaughter now, and in 6 months they're just getting all the visas in place, and they're going in 6 months. And as soon as Fiona told me about this business, I was like, oh my God, Adelaide, you know, they've got headquarters in Adelaide. So for me, I can just, for 90 days, I can go over there, spend time with her, and still work my business. So it's absolutely brilliant for me. And I think the most important thing is I've never for 1 minute regretted saying yes. I've had a couple of days where I felt, you know, a bit, things haven't gone the way I wanted them to, but I do go to bed every night and just thank God that I do this business now. So I hope that wasn't too painful for everybody. And I hope I haven't rambled on too much, Danny. But I've got my top tips. I do feel, you know, with the top tips, I feel a bit of a fraud, because I don't feel like I've done anything exceptional, apart from put in a lot of hard work. So I think the thing for me was my why. I had such a strong why. I knew I had to do it, and as quickly as possible. And one thing Fiona did say to me when we were at that meeting was, if you keep doing what you're doing, where will you be in 5 years? And that really scared me, because I thought in 5 years I'll probably be some quivering wreck in the corner, you know, rocking from side to side. You know, and I was sort of well on my way to that. I think I was verging on a bit of a breakdown. So for me, this has come at an absolute brilliant time. Like I said, you know, I did find it really hard to start with. But once I'd gained a bit of knowledge, once I'd started looking into like the product knowledge and looking at the source, reading GoPro, I felt I was able to do my business. But it was rocky. The first few weeks was rocky. So I think my first top tip would be to set your sights high, and people will want to follow you. If they can see your vision, they'll want to be part of it and include your team in your vision. My first 3 consultants actually asked to join the business, which was absolutely great. And I think Helen, I didn't even ask Helen if she wanted to join, and we were sat at a party and she said, I'd like to join. And I went, would you? So I didn't even know, I was totally unaware that she wanted to even join, which is brilliant. And I know it doesn't happen, and it probably have never happened to me again. But it was a really good start for me. And 2 of my team have now moved up to district manager. And we know as a team, we're going to move up the ranks together. Even Helen, who says she's not. but that's the plan. That's my plan. And I think if people can see you achieving something and having fun, they'll be intrigued. And always be positive about the business, even if you don't feel positive. You know, sometimes you could easily say to somebody, oh, I've had a really rubbish day. So-and-so's cancelled. This person's cancelled. I had a presentation. No one bought anything. But you don't want to put that out there. You want people to think, not lie, but people to think it's, you know, it is all positive, and most of the time it is. So just always be positive about what you're doing. You know, it is a fantastic opportunity we've got, but we all have our down days. A few months ago, I remember I was meeting somebody who didn't turn up, and when I eventually got through to her an hour later, she said, sorry, my washing machine wasn't working. And I thought, I don't want you to do my bloody washing. I want you to sign up my team. And I thought, washing machine's not working. I mean, some people have just got different priorities, and, you know, that was really, really important to me. But obviously, you know, it wasn't important to her. But I heard myself say, oh, I'm really sorry about that. It must be really awful for you. And deep down, I was thinking, oh, just wasted an hour sat there looking like a right idiot in a coffee shop. But, you know, it wasn't important to her, and, you know, and you can react negatively about those situations, but, you know, just try and see the funny side of it. And now that'll be one of my funny stories. You know, I'll always remember that girl as her washing machine was broken. Right, the second tip I would say is be coachable and don't try too much to do your own thing. Believe in the system and the way it works, and don't try to fix what isn't broken. You know, from day one, because I knew Fiona from years ago, I knew where she was going. I knew she was going to be MVP very soon, and obviously it works. What she did was working. So I just completely did what Fiona told me. You know, to the letter. I'd write everything down and tick it off as I did it. You know, I look at other successful people in this business, and I'm guided by what they're doing, and have done previously to get them to where they are today. So I do watch, you know, I do try and watch everything that's, you know, on all the calls, and I tape things and watch them back. And it is a copycat business. And it is all about duplication and doing what the person before you's done. I have a couple of consultants who are completely uncoachable, and I just hope they're not on this call. But it's not Jen, it's not Helen, and I can't see the others. And they've decided that they're going to do it their own way. And one of them, I mean, it might work for her. It's not yet, but she's sort of doing a bit of Avon ding-donging. She's going door to door and putting books through doors with samples. And I've sort of said to her, well, you know, really, you could do with a more personal approach. You know, if you're going to do that, knock on the door, speak to people, let them know what you're doing. Because, I mean, if somebody put samples through my door, I'd think, oh, God, if I'd never heard of the company, you'd even wonder if they were safe, wouldn't you? If you didn't know anything. But I've got a meeting with her this week, and no sales have gone through. So I think I'm hoping she'll get the realization that that's not working, and, you know, we can just sort of go from there. But the only thing I don't want her to do is to say, well, you know, I'm stopping, I'm giving this up because the business doesn't work. And the business does work. You know, if you do it by the way that's always been done, it does work. Right. My tip number 3 is attend as many events as you can. And this really, really helps me. I try to go to as many DAs as I can. Sometimes we'll have presentations parties on, and, you know, that sort of stops us. But generally as a team, we're there. And, you know, even if I haven't got a prospect to take, it's good to go and support your team. And you do pick up something different. Every time you go, you learn something else. And it's so uplifting to be around positive, like-minded people. So if you've had a bad day at work, you know, when you go to the DAs, you know, they're really uplifting, you have a laugh, and, you know, it just really makes you feel in a good place again. And I think it gives us a push to move, you know, the next, when I come home, I'm always like in my diary, writing notes, working out what I'm going to do. And it does really give me a buzz. You know, and it's also a known fact that people who thrive in this business are the ones that you attend the events. So like looking at a big event, and it does cost a lot of money. You know, when you haven't got a lot of money, it is expensive, you know, but you've got to look on that as an investment and not an expense. You know, you're investing in your business. And that's the way I sort of look at it. And You know, we're going to AAC in 3 weeks and it's going to be absolutely amazing. You know, we can see lots of people who've made the same decisions we have and gone on to be successful. We can see the proof that this business can work for someone like you or like me. You know, you don't have to be a certain person to make this business work. Another thing I'd say is be on the Zoom calls every Sunday. And I think I've missed probably 2 in 5 or 3 in 5 months. But for me, it really, really does help me to get my head in a good place on a Sunday night. So Monday morning, I'm raring to go, absolutely raring to go. You know, and you get so much advice, training, support. And that sort of leads me to my next point. Before you go to bed, make a plan for the next day. I write down everything, who I'm going to speak to about the business the next day, who I'm going to drop products off to, who I'm going to follow up with, and who I can approach for hosting a presentation and so on. It's just so easy. And I've done it a couple of days. I've got up in the morning and before you know where you are, you're thinking, oh God, it's bedtime. I've not done anything really good today. I've not spoken to anybody. The day just flies by. I think you've got to have a real plan in place. And also writing everything down on paper really helps to empty your mind and you feel a lot lighter and in control of what you're doing. I didn't do this for the first probably 3 or 4 weeks. And I literally thought I was going to have a breakdown because I just had all this information just whirling around. Just names kept popping up and ideas, and I just didn't know what to do with it. And by the end of the day, I'd forgotten most of it anyway. And I think you can sort of spend all day thinking about Arbonne, but not actually doing anything. You know, as I'm driving around, I'm thinking all the time, and then I get to where I've got to go. And it wasn't really anything constructive. It's just lots of things popping into my head. But you know, if I've just had if I've just driven to a client and I think of something along the way, I've always got a notebook in my pocket and I'll write it down. And then I don't have to keep trying to remember, and you know, it's there for when I need it. My next tip, which was really, really hard for me, was be bold. Even if your heart's going 10 to the dozen, you have sweaty palms and you need the toilet, be bold. Do the presentations, talk to people about the business. And for me, it takes me a lot out of my comfort zone. I don't like it. And I can remember the first 5 or 6 presentations where I just felt like I was shaking. I felt like I couldn't stand and my legs were shaking. But when I spoke to people that were there afterwards, you know, like my friends, they said, you wouldn't have known. You didn't look nervous. But I really, really, really felt it. But you have to look at why you have to push yourself to do these things and look at yourself and know what the end product's going to be. It's so worth it to get yourself out there, do the presentations, talk to people, because in the end, that is going to be your business. That is going to bring you your business. You know, you have to look at what you're going to gain from it and find courage. And it's really hard sometimes. And one thing I used to do was I'd think of something to do and then I wouldn't do it. I'd think about it all day and I'd get worried about it and I'd procrastinate and think of a million reasons why I shouldn't ring that person and what they might say to me. And now I just think, oh, to hell with it. I'm just going to ring them. What's the worst that can happen? You know, they might say no. They might run every time they see me. I think she's going to talk to me again about Arbonne. But does it really matter? It doesn't really matter. What matters is pushing your business forward. So that's one thing I would say that I do differently now. Another top tip of mine is to look at your list of 100 names. And I try to do this most days. I mean, some days I don't get to it, but I try to have a look, just flick through and see who's on the list, who I've spoken to. And you need to keep adding to it. I mean, every day names pop into my head. I know you're supposed to have like 2 names every day. Some days it's 1, some days none. But some days I could have 3 or 4. And they're not always people that I think would be good at the business, but they're people that know a lot of people that would be good for the business. And think of, again, have something with you, have a piece of paper and a pen, and be able to write down the names as they pop into your head, because you will forget them. My next top tip is, if you want to promote, you have to make Arbonne your priority. You need to treat it as your job and not a hobby. And this was something Jen was saying on the previous call. For me, promoting to area, I was still working full time. It was tiring, it was stressful and hard, but I had to keep going because I knew it'd be so worth it. I'd be able to give up my job. My house was getting dirtier by the day. The ironing was piling up. The cupboards were bare. But luckily I don't have little children. My boys are teenagers now. My daughter's left home. So they're big enough and ugly enough to fend for themselves. I felt a bit sorry for my husband coming home from work and like, no tea again. But I'd point him in the direction of the fridge, which was often empty, but you know, we got through it. And you know, my family were really, really supportive. They could see I was happy but stressed. And real life would resume as soon as I'd promoted and no one had died in the process. And I think it was also a bit of a realisation for them, because they realised how much I actually did do for them. And without me there running around after them, you know, these things weren't getting done. So it wasn't all bad, and I think they do appreciate me a bit more now. Tip number 8 is ask for help from your team. For me, the most important aspect of promoting to area was my team. I had 2 consultants who were working as hard as I was, and 4 consultants who were really inactive, apart from placing the odd order. So we were really a team of 3. We made the decision in May to go area with Fiona, and we just did everything in our power to make that happen. And we were just there as a team to support each other. When we do our presentations at the moment, we do them together, and sometimes that's been really hard because, like, some weeks we've had 4 or 5. So we're all there, all 3 of us. Someone's doing the spas, so I do makeup, someone else is talking, but it works really, really well. And whoever's booked the presentation will do the majority of the talking, so at least they're, you know, it's their clients, they're getting the custom, if you like. And it's just really, really worked for us. I mean, it probably wouldn't work for a lot of people, but it's given us a real sense of teamwork. But obviously the dynamics of the team are changing all the time. You know, new consultants are coming on, so it might not always be like that. And, you know, at the end of the day, we are sort of learning to be independent. So one day sort of that will happen. But, you know, for the time being, it works for us. And we always get together. We always, you know, a couple times a week we'll get together. We'll have a bit of our own training. So last week we met up and we all did makeup. Just sort of practicing on each other. We met up at Helen's a couple of days ago, and her son's a real whiz on the computer, so he was going through everything for us, because none of us are that great. And he's been fab, absolutely fab. But I think the most important thing is to have fun. You know, whatever you do, whatever party you're at, presentation you're at, have fun with it. You know, it'd be so awful if you were there and just miserable, and, you know, and the clients would, you know, would see that as well. So just have fun. My last tip would be the monthly tracker. And I didn't do this for the first couple of months because I didn't really see it as being very important. But it does keep me consistently in activity. I mean, some days I might only add 1 name to the list or miss doing one of the activities, but I make sure the next day I'm back on it. You know, the 5 minutes of learning from the source will always vary, but over the course of the week, I always make sure I learn something on the products. I'm not very good on my reading, but I think I'm not making excuses, but it's a bit of a time issue because I'm working full time, trying to do the business and everything else. So that is going to take a priority now, and I'm going to set aside at least. I'm going to try to do at least an hour a day reading. And I know when I've not done my reading, because I start to feel a little bit negative and a little bit down, and I think, right, you just need to get the books out. So that's me. So I hope you've learned something from it, and I hope it wasn't too boring. Thank you.
That was fantastic, Angela. And considering that was the first time you've sort of done the training call on the big call on a 9 p.m. Sunday, absolutely. You can see why you're an area manager. And it's funny how you say, oh, I didn't do anything spectacular. But the fact is, and you hit the nail on the head, you worked consistently for that period of going into area qualification and then completing area. And that's what it's all about, is having that consistent work ethic for a couple of months, 60 days or 90 days, depending on how long you stretch your promotion out for. And you did it. You know, most people, they'll get so far into a month and then they'll go, nah, do you know what, I won't bother, I'll just watch TV. And then they've wasted all that time. The fact was, you kept going and going and going, and you really are something very special, Angela. And it's lovely that you don't even realize how incredible you are, but you are. I mean, everybody's saying to you, you're amazing, you're amazing, you're amazing. You've got to start believing how incredible you are. And I know that I speak for everybody on the call tonight. Your tips were fantastic, and everybody is going to be gunning for you now, building your region, Brunning region. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Angela.
Thank you. Bye.
Night, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.